A gift, Sariel whispered into the air, for my only remaining son.
Chapter 1. 30 days previous. Stephanie. The air crackled with excitement. I watched as the couple sitting a few tables away from me grabbed each other's hands and leaned in for a kiss. I tried to turn away, but it was impossible. I was always drawn to affection, drawn to emotion like it was a homing beacon. Sometimes it really sucked being immortal. I couldn't help but feel what others felt. And I couldn't help but want that feeling for myself. It would be too ridiculously easy to steal the emotional charge in the air or change it with a snap of my fingers. Heck, I could have that guy salivating over me in seconds. But it would be wrong. And for the past week, I'd been trying to do things right. Ever since I'd unknowingly betrayed my only human friend, I had turned over a new leaf. I was a council member, for crying out loud. An immortal siren or a dark one, whatever. I was too many things. A few days ago, I'd given the only dark one I knew, our king, my essence, thinking I'd die, willing to make that sacrifice. Instead, I'd woken up the next day, completely the same as before, as if my immortality had been restored. Only I was different. Before I even opened my eyes, I felt the power of death surge through me. The deepest sort of cold took root from my fingertips all the way down to my toes, and an eerie sort of darkness became a part of me, like a shadow I couldn't get rid of. Dread trickled down my spine. To make matters worse, I woke up to my entire room frozen like the Arctic, which, for an immortal who'd spent the last few hundred years assuming she was nothing more than a siren, terrifying. Besides, sirens hated the cold. It was the exact opposite of what we represented. Warmth, human emotions, heat, lust, fire. Blah. I shivered. Would I ever be warm again? It wasn't the type of cold you could escape. It was a part of me, just like my heart. The very heart I'd given to Cassius. The only man I'd ever loved. If you could truly call him that. Half human, half angel, he was the king of the immortals, and not just completely off limits, but dangerous. A Dark One's touch was powerful enough to force humans into a cheerful slavery for a millennia. To me, he'd simply always felt good. Until I discovered that he'd put a very powerful glamour on me when I was a child, hiding me away from the archangels who swore to kill more Dark Ones if they were ever created. I sighed. What was the point anymore? Cassius was gone. He'd disappeared the minute I'd opened my eyes that fateful morning 2 days ago to find my brand new Nike running shoes covered in snow. The couple in front of me laughed again. It grated my nerves because I was jealous of them. Of them! It was laughable. Or it should have been. A week ago, I would have laughed. Now it was just bordering on pathetic. As an elder among the immortals, it was my job to keep the peace and run interference between our kind and the humans. Not sit at a Starbucks and watch a newly engaged couple with silent longing. Cassius, our leader, the only king the immortals have ever known, had been missing for a few days, and it killed me to think it was because he was ashamed of me, ashamed of what I'd done to Genesis. Not that it was my fault an archangel had bitten me, seduced me, and basically entranced me into doing something. Granted, the whole jealousy part was my fault, making the spell he put me under that much stronger. I took a long sip of my latte and pouted. I hadn't done that in ages. It didn't help. "You look like hell." Mason plopped down at the table. His shaggy brown hair was pulled back underneath a Seahawks hat. Black aviators hung loosely across his strong nose, framing his very deadly, yet undeniably sexy 5 o'clock shadow. Stupid werewolf. An underlying earthy scent like that of burned wood and pine cones floated between us with each casual movement he made. And believe me, he needed to look as casual as possible, considering he just naturally attracted any animal within a 10-mile radius. "Yeah, well," I pointed at his hat. "You look like a tourist."
"Please."